Hi! In today's video, we are going to talk about something we have all struggled with and maybe still do. Attachment. That feeling when you can't stop obsessing over someone or obsessing over an outcome. Or when your happiness basically depends on things that are outside of your control. Sound familiar? Then you're in the right place. Today, we're diving into detachment, but not the cold, distant kind. The healthy kind that sets you free. And the best part, everything I'm sharing with you is backed up by science. So if you've ever felt stuck in an emotional loop that you're desperately wanting to get out of but can't, this one's for you. Let's break down the science of detachment and give you an actionable plan you can start using today. Hi, my name is Petya and I'm a certified neurolinguistic programming coach. Welcome to my channel. So, what exactly is attachment? What causes us to attach? Our brains are literally wired for connection because when we bond with someone, our brains release the oxytocin hormone, which is basically the love hormone, and it feels amazing. But here's the thing. It can also create dependency. According to research from the University of California, we form attachments in 3 ways. First, to people. It could be romantic partners, friends, even celebrities that we never met. And 2, to outcomes, like the job promotion you've been earning for, or social media validation. 3, to an identity we hold on to, who we think we should be. So here's the interesting part though. Brain scans shows that breaking attachment can feel as intense as physical pain. So breaking attachment actually triggers the same neural pathways as physical pain. And that's why letting go can hurt so much. But here's what most people don't know. And it's that attachment is often a response to fear. And the fear of abandonment, of not being enough, and of the unknown. So if you're struggling with unhealthy attachment, I want you to know something. This is not a weakness. It's literally what your brain has been wired to do, so it's functioning normally, and this is all fixable and reprogrammable. So now we're gonna talk about how we can retrain the brain. For this, I've created something that I call the Detachment Pyramid, and it consists of 4 levels, starting with the easiest techniques you can start using and building up to more advanced ones. Level 1 is physical detachment, or the basics. Research is clear on this one because physical distance creates emotional distance. How do you start creating physical distance? By blocking phone number and the social media of the person you're trying to detach from. I know this may seem radical, but this is actually a crucial step because if you don't do it, you're basically keeping open pathways to you if that person calls you and triggers a familiar emotion. You don't need that. Your nervous system actually needs to calm down, let them go. Not the easiest, but let's say the most practical way is to first block their phone number and their social media so you don't get triggered and you don't risk it, right? Then what I need you to do is in your physical space, which is your home, if you have any items that remind you of them, such as photos or maybe, items you bought together, gifts they've given you, a big teddy bear, those are quite common. You can see them next to trash bins after breakups. I'm not saying do that, but if you have something like that and it's over and you're trying to detach, it's essential that you remove these items from your physical space. If you don't feel ready to throw them away, one easy thing you can do is just get a big moving box and put together everything you don't want to see that brings you sadness or any kind of strong emotion that is creating longing for that person who is now no longer in your life. Put the things inside, put them in a closet or on the attic, in the cellar, doesn't really matter. Somewhere where you don't go often and you're not gonna be tempted to open and see those things. Next, create new routines that don't involve this person. So the person is gone. That much is true. But what do you do if you're living in the same apartment, same neighborhood, and the same city that you were dating in? I mean, that is quite common for most of us. It can feel quite painful when you pass on the street that you used to hold hands or kiss. What you need to do in this case is create new associations. This creates new neural pathways in the brain. For example, if you had a favorite cafe where you will go together with this person, you now go by yourself, you buy yourself coffee, or you go with a friend, you sit at a different table, you talk about different things that are unrelated, preferably something positive. You will have new associations with that place, so it won't any longer be, oh, the place where me and my ex went to. So that's pretty cool. You could also start taking a new route. For example, if you used to go to walks together with your dog, or just the two of you, start taking a different route. Start exploring. Is there a new cafe you could buy coffee from? Is there a new route you could take that's refreshing? And you can now start associating with your new life. Probably. Be curious. Next, I want you to remember the 90-second rule from Dr. Jill Taylor. What does it consist of? Actually, being mindful that emotional responses typically last for 90 seconds unless you feed them. What does this mean? I could feel intense anger or sadness. It would last for 90 seconds. I don't need to feed on this emotion, right? But what we usually do is we cling to that emotion and we start ruminating. That's kind of similar to the washing machine when it starts washing your clothes, like, and you start doing that. All of a sudden, this emotion that was supposed to last for 90 seconds, and it lasted, you didn't let go, and you created a secondary emotion, and now you've put yourself in a rut that you can get out of. But just remember to not cling to that emotion, not feed it. Breathe in, breathe out, allow yourself to experience it, and then let it go. It will pass. They pass. We cannot stay in the same emotional state for too long. And that's a superpower if you know how to use it. A study from the Journal of Experimental Psychology found that simply removing visual cues reduced attachment feelings by 43% in just 2 weeks. The moment you remove visual cues from your home, from your physical space, the less likely you are to experience those strong emotions that will normally last for 90 seconds, and you're gonna make it easier on yourself. It's still gonna be a process, so don't expect it to magically fix everything, but it's gonna help tremendously. Level 2, mental detachment. So this is the fact that your thoughts create your reality, so you need to practice mental hygiene or thought hygiene. And so if you find yourself ruminating, try saying stop. Just redirect your mind to something more productive, be it a task you have to finish at work or something else that's more pleasant to think about. You could also use a pattern interrupt. For example, you can touch your thumb to each finger in sequence, break the automatic pilot of this negative spiraling. You can also try cognitive diffusion, which is basically detaching from your thoughts and reminding yourself, my thoughts are not who I am, or my thoughts are not necessarily real. I want you to remember you are not your thoughts, as Leila Hormozi says. No matter what thoughts may come at a period where you feel weak, sad, devastated, just let them pass, acknowledge them. Yeah, I'm having this thought. This is not necessarily true. The brain doesn't know that, it can't tell the difference, so that's why we need to be mindful and let those thoughts pass. We can also try something like setting a daily worry time, where you set a timer, let's say for 15 minutes, and you worry about everything that could happen. You dump it all on a piece of paper. So the aim of you dumping all of your thoughts on paper is to fully detach, let yourself be, let yourself feel, because once you do that, you are actually gonna reduce the intensity of those emotions. And you're gonna be honest with yourself, you're gonna name the emotion, you're gonna put it on paper, you're gonna get it out of your system, and you're gonna feel better. Harvard suggests that acknowledging negative emotions actually makes them fade faster than trying to force positivity. This is key because there's also something called toxic positivity. It can be when, for example, you are struggling to deal with your emotions because you're feeling something you feel uncomfortable with. You want it to end because it's painful. So you're like rationalizing, oh, it's not that bad, I feel okay. This actually is sweeping your emotions under the carpet and is not setting you up for success. It's better to acknowledge things, accept them, and it's then easier to move on. Now that we've discussed this, we come to level 4, of the pyramid, which is identity detachment, or the ultimate freedom. This is actually the deeper work. It's about identifying who you are without the attachment. For example, you could make a list of who you were before the relationship with the person. I used to believe that Prince Charming would not come knocking at my door, understandably so, and that if I needed to get a relationship and the relationship I want, I should put myself out there. I should go on dates and I should meet people and I should be curious and basically be proactive about it. It's not that I enjoyed it that much, I'll be honest. I felt as if I have to go to work interviews, sort of. That was my mindset back at the time. It was not great, but I still pushed myself to do it because I realized, well, that increases my chances of having the result I want. Hence, I did it. The idea here is that I tied it to my identity back then, which was, I'm a proactive person, I'm an action taker, I am brave, I can get what I want. And these are all wonderful things to have because this is you minus the other person, minus the last relationship or more relationships or whatever. It's who you are as a person and how you go through life. You know, you could make a list with all of your passions as well and what made you you, basically, that you also couldn't do in the relationship, because that's you getting back to yourself. You know, you can practice self-compassion because self-compassion works wonders. Because self-compassion basically meets you where you are at. Let's say today I'm not feeling that well because I'm still grieving someone I broke up with. It's not easy, it's a process, it's not linear, there are ups, there are downs, and if I force myself to be at the 100%, I will feel more pressure than if I practice self-compassion. So self-compassion could be, hey, I know that I'm doing the best I can currently. I'm not gonna function at 100% today. That's okay. I am still showing up. I am still handling my tasks, but it is what it is today. Let's take today as it is and let's set an intention for tomorrow. So let me finish, let's say, 2 more tasks tomorrow, big tasks for work or my personal life. This gives me the freedom to be without judgment, because again, if we are experiencing something negative and we are beating ourselves up about it, we are basically prolonging the process unnecessarily. That doesn't do you good because you cannot force yourself to function better once you're feeling down. You could still function, just not as optimal. That's what I'm saying. And then it's better to accept it for what it is and move on in a better way tomorrow or the next days. It reduces the tension, it reduces the pressure, it allows yourself to be. Then you could also develop your future self through visualization techniques, which will help you imagine the kind of life you wanted. Because with the person that you were that didn't work out with, there is a reason why it didn't work out. And maybe you weren't as compatible as you wish you would be. So I encourage you to think, what would be your ideal version? Do you want to be more confident? Do you want to dress better? Do you want to do public speaking? Do you want to do any of these things? What are the things that make you exclusively you? And what would you like to develop as a skill that will make you happy, that will enhance your life? What kind of progress do you want to see? I encourage you to look into that because you can get really excited. And you know that if we work on being the people we want to be, we attract similar people as well, because we're raising the vibration, we're basically changing our identity. With this, I just want to remind you that detachment is not a one-time thing. It's practice, it's a process, just like going to a gym and building muscle and keeping up with your progress, and not just going a few times and saying, okay, that's it, I've done it. No, it takes time and consistency, but you can do it. The most important thing is to set an intention, and once you do and follow those steps and find what works best for you, I'm pretty confident you'll have results. I wanted to also say, there you have it, the science-backed guide of letting go, of detaching. Starting today, I challenge you to try just one technique from this video. Notice how it feels. Small steps create massive shifts over time. Remember, detachment isn't about not caring. It's about caring in a way that honors your well-being, allows you to be a well-rounded individual and come from a place of calm. If this video helped you, please hit like and subscribe and share it with someone who might benefit from it. Drop a comment, let me know which detachment level you're working on, which technique you're gonna try. Remember that true freedom starts when you learn to let go. See you in the next one.